Hey guys, Marco D'Angelo here for WagerTalk TV, and I'm going to preview two NBA games for you for tonight. We're going to take a look at Game 2, Pacers, Cavaliers, and we're going to take a look at Game 1, Golden State at Minnesota. Before we get started, do me a favor, hit that like button. It really helps the channel out, and the more of you that hit the like button, the more free videos we'll be able to deliver for you. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button. It's free, guys, and then you'll be alerted every time there's a new video available. You'll never miss a video again. All right, let's get right into the action tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern. It is Indiana at Cleveland. You know, many people have heard of the zigzag theory in the NBA playoffs. There was a time that this was one of the most productive angles in the NBA playoffs. But like anything else, once something starts working well, Vegas is going to make adjustments to the line until it's no longer productive. The thinking behind the zigzag theory was you simply just take the team that lost the last game to bounce back in the next one. Now, why did that work well? For me, well, I always thought that the reason for that is, if you think about it, the team that won, what are they going to change for Game 2? Their game plan worked. But the team that lost, they're the ones that are back in there in front of the chalkboard making adjustments to the X's and O's in the game plan to change things around. That gives them an advantage in the next game because the other team doesn't know what you're going to change to. Now, as I said, this worked well over the years, but Vegas started making you pay a price for those type of games. But there are still certain situations where I think the zigzag still works. And one of those is when a team loses Game 1 at home. This is a spot where basically that home team, it's their season. If they go down 0-2 and have to go out on the road, the series, although we've seen some teams come back from it, for the most part, those teams are dead. They're not going to come back and win the series. So you're going to have that team playing with a different intensity at home in Game 2. Now, the road team, they're kind of free rolling in Game 2. They won Game 1. They met their goal. Any road team, whenever they head out into a series, they have one goal in mind. They want to split on the road, and that gives them, they steal home court advantage. Now, I'm not saying that a team that wins Game 1 is not going to show up and play Game 2. Yeah, you want to go up 2-0. Don't get me wrong, but you're not going to have that same intensity that you had in the last game. And your opponent is going to have an even higher intensity because of the sense of urgency. So I do like to look at a team in that next game, Game 2, and that would have us looking at Cleveland. Now, let's not just do this off of speculation because it's a must win. Let's look at that last game and what probably happened in that one. From a handicapping standpoint, I think this was a case for Cleveland of, you hear the phrase rest versus rust, which is better, okay? They hadn't played in 6 days. Actually, they really hadn't played in longer than that, because if you look at Game 3 and Game 4 of that first round series against Miami, Miami quit midway through the third quarter of Game 3. They ended up losing Game 3 and 4 by 37 and 55 points. Cleveland it was a complete laugher. What did they gain from winning those games so easily? They were never tested. And I think they came in to this one maybe a little bit too fat and sassy, a little complacent. You will not see that tonight. Whereas New York came in fresh off of that win, hard-fought series. They closed Detroit out in 6 games, but that was a competitive series. Every one of those games went down to the final couple possessions of the game, and that gave them a benefit. And I can guarantee you, Cleveland's not going to shoot 9 of 38 from three-point range again. With that said, I'm lining up on Cleveland, but we also have a NBA trend that has been money in the bank. NBA underdogs. If you bet against NBA underdogs of 3.5 to 9.5 since 2021, who are coming off an upset win as an underdog against a division rival, which is what Indiana just did in that last game, you bet against those teams, league-wide, you would have gone 80-38 against the spread. That's a pretty powerful number. I'm going to go ahead and take Cleveland minus the points in game 2 tonight. That's play number 1. Before I get to tonight's second free winner for you, I want to remind you guys, it is Tuesday, and that means it's $5 Tuesday at WagerTalk. You can get my 4% NBA game of the week. This game normally sells for $25. You're going to get it for $5 tonight. Now, I just want to point out, I'm giving you 2 free plays on this video. The play that is my 4% tonight is not one of these 2 plays. I have a different play for you in tonight's action. You can pick that up. And why should you do it? Well, start with the price, $5 tonight. The other reason, guys, is I am WagerTalk's #1 NBA handicapper in money won since the start of the 2020 season. Last 5 years, we're up over 185 units for our clients. You can get that big winner tonight for just $5. Just head over to WagerTalk.com and go to my homepage. You'll be able to pick up that play. We also have a special that's ending. You want to take advantage of it. It's a great deal, guys. You can buy 2 weeks of service, all access, all of my plays. That's $99 a week, so that's $198 for 2 weeks. If you buy that, we're throwing in a bonus week free. So that means you're going to get 21 days for just $198. That's less than $10 a day. You get every play I release in baseball, basketball, hockey. You'll also get special events. Customers who were with me over the weekend, they got my Kentucky Derby selections. We gave them the Kentucky Derby exact, the trifecta cold. That was a great bonus. This package will include the Preakness that'll go on May 17th. So check it out, guys. Head over to WagerTalk.com. All right, enough about that. Let's get to the second free winner, and we're going to take a look at the Golden State-Minnesota game, game 1. Now, anyone that looked at Golden State's last game, Game 7 on Sunday against Houston, a 103-89 victory, they're not going to be wanting to look at any over in tonight's game. But what you have to understand is that Golden State was coming off a 7-game series, and they let them play. It was a very physical series. And if you just look at Game 7, Golden State only went to the foul line 9 times in the game. That tells you the referees were swallowing the whistle, letting them play and play physical. Well, if you're not calling fouls and you're letting them be physical, it makes the scoring even tougher. And to add to that, Houston is a team that they play good defensively, but they're not one of the better teams in the NBA offensively. Let's be honest. This is a team that likes to play a slower pace. They want to slow you down, get you into the half-court game, and they work for their shots. That played into the under. This is also a situation where prior to Game 7, after Golden State lost Game 6 at home, when they could have closed out Houston in the series, Houston was able to win Games 5 and 6 to force Game 7. Draymond, Steph, and Jimmy Butler had a players-only meeting prior to Game 7. And what they discussed in that meeting, this came out afterwards, is those guys set the tone for the game. They told their teammates, we are going to make them work for every single possession. Houston's a little bit offensively challenged. They're going to have to work even harder for every possession. They put the effort in on the defensive end in that game. And when your superstars that can score points like crazy, Curry and Butler, are telling you they're going to play hard-nosed defense, that sends a message to the rest of the team. Now, with that said, you spend a lot more energy playing defense than you do offense. And that was a grueling 7-game series, and they only got 1 day in between before they start this one. So where am I going here? I think you're going to see a total reversal in form in this particular game. You're going to see a faster pace because Golden State's not going to play with that same defensive intensity, for one. 2, Minnesota's a much better offensive team than Houston is. They have more weapons. They get better spacing on the floor, which when you have better spacing on the floor gives you better looks at the basket, which gives you easier buckets. So all of that is leading into a situation where you're going to see more points come from the Minnesota side. And then for Golden State, if they're not concentrating on the defensive end, you'll see Curry and Butler do what they do best, and that is score. It takes less energy to play offense than it does to play defense. And as we say, tired teams don't play good defense. So if I'm Minnesota, I'm going to want to force the pace. You want to tire out Golden State because they did come off that 7-game series. So with that said, I'm looking to the over in this one. I'm going to take it over 210.5. I think this number is too low for this one. It's an over adjustment from the last game. And that's our free play for game number 2. Take Minnesota, Golden State over the total. Guys, if you like the way we break these down, hit that thumbs up. And if you want to get involved in my big 4% play last night, we cashed our 4% play last night in baseball. We had the New York Mets tonight. The 4% play is in the NBA. It's my NBA game of the week. Join me over at WagerTalk.com. Just $5. I'm Marco D'Angelo. Till next time, let's cash some tickets, guys.